Me too.
Really. Thanks for having us as always. Coming up tonight on the newscast, we're going to delve a little bit deeper into the government's new spending plan. Where exactly are your tax dollars going? Some of the answers may actually surprise you. Plus, new details about that extensive cyber attack targeting America and how the nation is responding. Also tonight, a cheating scandal, a pretty big one, in fact, at West Point. We're going to get into that. Also on the show, a special look at minorities and mental health, especially during these troubling days right now. A Hollywood actor is going to share details with us tonight regarding 2 suicides in his very own family. And finally, we talked to 2 astronauts on board the International Space Station, and literally, it's an interview from 250 miles up in the sky. That's tonight, right here on NewsNation on WGN America. Hope you tune in.
All right, Rob, thank you so much. You can see NewsNation tonight on WGN America. Starting at 8 o'clock on DirecTV, it's Channel 307, Spectrum Channel 14, and Comcast Channel 98. We'll be right back.
During the Subaru Share the Love event, Subaru will donate $250 for every new vehicle sold or leased from now through January 4th, 2021. Tomwood Subaru will also donate $50 to the Miracle Place of Indianapolis. For a limited time, get 0% financing to make the love go even further.
Wow, a new Buick for me?
To James from James. That's just what I wanted.
Is this a new Buick?
I Secret Santed myself.
I shouldn't have. I have been very good this year.
Wow. Wow.
Wow.
Don't forget you this holiday season. Get an SUV from Buick. Celebrate the holidays with Buick. Now everyone can get GM employee pricing on most Buick SUV models. Use it to get over $4,500 total value on this Encore GX.
During the Subaru Share the Love event, Subaru will donate $250 for every new vehicle sold or leased from now through January 4th, 2021. Tomwood Subaru will also donate $50 to the Miracle Place of Indianapolis. For a limited time, get 0% financing to make the love go even further.
From Indiana's #1 news source, this is Fox 59 News at 7.
Thousands of vaccines now going out every day here in Indiana. We have the latest on our state's vaccination plan and what they say is giving their progress a big boost.
Plus, the strain on our hospitals staying high tonight, what the coronavirus response has looked like inside Indiana hospitals and how they're now pushing forward.
Plus, Congress passing a $900 billion relief bill last night, now waiting for President Trump's signature. What's inside this new aid package, and what does it mean for you and your family? First tonight, we start with vaccinations underway as Indiana tries still to slow the spread of COVID-19 across our state. More than 40,000 Hoosiers are expected to be vaccinated by the end of the day today. We have a lot to get to. Thanks for joining us for the news at 7. I'm Fanchon Stinger.
And I'm Dan Spehler. These vaccinations still only include healthcare workers and those in long-term care facilities. But today, state health officials say the approval of the Moderna vaccine is really going to speed up the process. The Pfizer and Moderna supplies, just like Pfizer, the Moderna supplies will be limited, and they'll go to healthcare workers and long-term care facilities first. States are then creating their own plans to decide who's next based on factors like exposure and risk of serious illness.
We've also learned CVS and Walgreens will start vaccinating people in long-term care facilities. That will start next Monday. The state is also working to get a dashboard on vaccine distribution up and running. They say that should be ready to go by the end of this year.
This past weekend, the FDA issued an emergency use authorization for a second vaccine made by Moderna. Yesterday, Franciscan Alliance and Hammond received the first shipment of Moderna vaccine in Indiana. Think about that. In just a week's time, we have received not 1, but 2 vaccines to help protect Hoosiers from this disease. It truly is the hope that we all need.
Also today, Governor Wilkes extending executive orders keeping the National Guard at longer-term care facilities and allowing retired healthcare workers and medical students to help out at Indiana hospitals.
Well, today's update comes as Indiana tracks more than 3,700 new cases of COVID-19 today. State health officials also reporting that 143 more people have now died of this virus. The strain on our hospitals is staying high but steady. Health leaders have been sounding alarms about our hospitals for weeks now.
Today's number of hospitalizations is still higher than any other day before mid-November. And Fox 59's Darius Johnson is looking at what this actually means for all of us right before the holidays.
The second wave of COVID-19 hit harder than the first, and it shows in the numbers. But have we reached our darkest days as numbers remain stagnant?
I think the way to look at the state numbers is that we're probably in kind of at least a plateau period where it's things are up and down, but in general, over several weeks, it's kind of flat.
And they are hoping that transitions into a downward trend.
We didn't see the significant surge upon a surge that we were fearful of with the Thanksgiving holiday.
On November 1st, more than 1,700 Hoosiers were in the hospital for COVID treatment. That nearly doubled by the end of the month to more than 3,400.
That was a very fast rise in cases. We're starting to see a slow downturn in the number of cases, but at least as of yet, that hasn't really impacted the feel of our hospitals.
Over the last few days, we've hovered between 2,900 and 3,000 hospitalizations. At the same time, hospitals are working to make sure their staff is vaccinated.
Now that we have vaccine available, we are trying to push through as many healthcare workers through the vaccination process as we can do and as we'll accept it. And that's our big focus now.
Dr. Huth says the vaccinations have improved the morale of healthcare workers. For them, these numbers aren't a sigh of relief. Instead, it's a wake-up call for preparation.
The question is, what do we need to do next to prepare for?
Reporting in Indianapolis, I'm Darius Johnson.
Darius, thanks. Health Commissioner Dr. Christina Box also announced today the state is changing how it calculates the positivity rate. She says there was a problem with the software that they're going to be correcting. Overall, it's possible the state's rate will be higher than what it is now, but she says some smaller counties may see their numbers drop.
Well, new case numbers are also leading to a new public health order in Fishers tonight. That order takes effect Christmas Day. It goes until January 8th. All restaurants and bars must close between 10 at night and 5 in the morning, except for carryout. The health department says this order follows recommendations from the CDC and state health department, including limiting non-essential activities. One non-essential activity, they say, is late-night drinking, which could lead to closer interactions and more spread.
We know that restaurants can potentially be a source because you have to take off your mask to eat or drink. We know that bars can potentially be a source because when you start drinking, particularly if you're consuming alcohol, then you decrease your inhibitions, you start talking louder, which makes it easier to spread the virus.
Fisher says their COVID cases in the first 2 weeks of December were about 40% higher than the first 2 weeks of November. They say those rates played a factor in this new order.
Well, turning now to our Weather Authority forecast. Cool and clear tonight across central Indiana, but we're in for a bit of a weather roller coaster this week of Christmas. Brian's following a warm-up, cool-down, rain and snow. We can see it all here, Brian.
Yeah, it's been kind of sort of that way, maybe just a little bit of an easier kiddie ride. Over the last several days, we've had some upswings and downturns in the temperatures, but we're about ready to embark on a real steep drop here. After a warm-up into the 50s, we've got some wild swings coming. This is a pretty good night. A lot of folks are still getting out and taking in the holiday lights, whether it's down at the fairgrounds or at Newfields or here at Fishers, Conner Prairie. You've got a delightful first full day of winter under our belt. Great evening out there with the temperature still near 40 degrees, the lights downtown, and some of the lights there in the foreground while looking towards the Hamilton Town Center there, the mall, here on this Tuesday night. It's a quiet evening, and there's not much in the way of cloud cover out there. So those of you that were looking for the Saturn and Jupiter conjunction last night and failed to get there, well, you can see it again tonight. It's not quite as close as it was last night, but still brilliant there earlier this evening as it settles onto the western horizon. You'll be able to see it again over the next several days, but they will widen in the days and weeks ahead. Temperatures, well, 44 the high today. We're at 38, and we will not likely drop too much more tonight. We're trending a little cooler on a light south breeze, but it's a wind that will start to gust tomorrow. Right now, it's pretty quiet, but it'll be a wild Wednesday, which includes wind, warmer temperatures, rainfall as well, maybe even a chance for a thunderstorm. Then an Arctic blast that sends us to the coldest temperatures for a Christmas since 2004. I'll show you how cold it will get and when bitter wind chills will settle in my forecast.
Okay, Brian, thanks. The country is waiting this evening for President Trump to sign the $1.4 trillion spending bill passed late last night by Congress. The legislation includes $900 billion in pandemic relief funding, and the relief deal also includes those $600 direct payments to Americans, unemployment funding, and more money for the Paycheck Protection Program. Now, Indiana economists say this round of relief is similar to the last package, but on a smaller scale. But some we spoke with worried those new $600 stimulus checks won't be enough for struggling Hoosiers. This bill also includes $300 of extra unemployment benefits, half of what was offered last time. But local economists say they are pleased to see rental assistance and more PPP funding. The IU Kelley School of Business economists Kyle Anderson and Andrew Butters agree. They say the deal is better than nothing, and they're not too worried about what the loans will mean long term.
Interest rates are really, really low now. And again, I think every expectation is that we have a really, really strong rebound in the back half of 2021.
Over time, we're going to have to address these sorts of things. But I think it makes sense that in the short term, we want to get the economy back growing first and then address things like the deficit.
Indiana Senator Todd Young was among those voting in support of the bill. He says while the package includes a lot of compromises, the focus was on quickly addressing the urgent need for more aid.
It took months to work through this, unfortunately. I wish that we could have delivered a product more quickly, but we do have a bill.
Now, if you can, you are encouraged to use your stimulus check to support local businesses. There's another round of COVID relief potentially on the way. Would it depend on the spread of the virus and how quickly people can get the vaccine? We'll see. This round of aid is intended to help at least until March.
Meantime, the federal stimulus bill extended unemployment benefits, but here in Indiana, there are some people who are still waiting for approval. We've been hearing from many of you waiting months for someone just to investigate your case. The state hired 300 new claims investigators, they say, earlier this year, but struggled to keep up with the record number of filings. One woman told us she's been waiting for an appeal hearing since May.
Whatever it takes, to get the process moving quicker. It's December. A lot of us have been waiting for 7 or 8 months. It's December.
It's a long time. The Department of Workforce Development spokesperson denied a request for an interview. The department did confirm, however, that the wait for an appeals hearing is about 18 weeks right now.
President-elect Joe Biden addressing the nation today ahead of the Christmas holiday, calling on Americans to stay vigilant and work together during this pandemic. The president-elect also thanked healthcare workers on the front lines and the nation's military families for their sacrifices. Mr. Biden also acknowledging this will be a painful holiday season for many who have lost loved ones this year.
So this season of reflection carries a much deeper meaning than it usually does. Over 320,000 lives lost to this virus. And Jill and I send our prayers, as I'm sure all of you do, to all who are facing this dark winter with an empty seat at the dinner table where a loved one used to sit and talk and laugh and reminisce.
The president-elect urged Americans to continue to follow health guidance by avoiding large gatherings this Christmas. And he praised Congress for passing a relief package last night, calling for more bipartisan action in the future.
Well, coming up tonight, Indiana's hospitality industry is seeing major losses during this pandemic. Those losses affecting thousands of workers. We're going to show you the efforts right now to hold on through this challenging time and how the new aid package could be saving grace.
Plus, some of the country's top health leaders rolling up their sleeves today were there for their first round of COVID vaccinations, coming up after the break.